day, brothers and sisters at home and in the diaspora. I'm very happy to present a program on human rights today. And with me, I've got very interesting panelists who have got experience in the human rights field. And most of them are very passionate about rights. As you know, everyone has got rights, and it's something people are actually willing to die for. Our panelists today would actually give you a brief kind of perspective on the human rights situation in Sierra Leone regarding the challenges and successes up to date. We would also talk about the prison situation and the right to life as well, and give these very knowledgeable panelists to actually tell us more about their take on human rights situations in Sierra Leone. Before any further ado, I would like to introduce a panelist to you. I would start with Janet Musa, who has a background in law and has great interest in human rights as well. Also with us today is a gentleman from Freetown called Fabunde Antumana. Fabunde holds a master's degree in Peace and Development Studies. He was a leading campaigner against human trafficking in 2005 and played a pivotal role in the development of the anti-trafficking law. He currently works at the Human Rights Commission in Sierra Leone. Fabunde has recently completed a 2-day program on torture in South Africa. We also have with us Josephine Coker, a woman that I have great respect for. Josephine has a background in education, health, and business. She's worked as a market analyst and brand development consultant for a top 10 blue chip company, and also as a marketing consultant. She's currently pursuing a personal interest in the form of a Bachelor of Laws degree. We have another gentleman by the name of Mr. Leone, who is also based in the UK. He'll be joining us shortly. But before he joins us, I would take the opportunity to actually introduce Mesa to you guys. Mesa has been greatly involved in human rights issues and has worked with leading NGOs and traveled across the world to speak at conferences on the subject of human rights. He was a keynote speaker at the EU Presidency Summit in Stockholm. He has also addressed the Security Council in Geneva and the UN ECOSOC high-level meeting in New York. He has shared a platform with world leaders, including the UN Secretary General, Tony Blair, and many more. Before we actually go into the program proper, I would just like to quote my hero, Nelson Mandela, who, during his speech at the opening of the South African Parliament in Cape Town in 1994, said, "Our single most important challenge is to help establish a social order in which the freedom of the individual would truly mean the freedom of the individual. We must construct that people-centered society of freedom in such a manner that it guarantees the political liberties and the human rights of all citizens." Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, could you just take a round and just saying hello to our listeners?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening to my brothers and sisters in Sierra Leone, and good evening to my brothers and sisters in the diaspora. This is Josephine Coker.
Thank you very much, Josephine.
This is Janet Musa. I just want to say hello to everybody in Sierra Leone and to everyone in diaspora as we speak about human rights issues concerning our Mama Salon.
Thank you. Okay. And Fabunde, are you there? Hello? Fabunde? Okay, we might have dropped one of our panelists, but he would be joining us shortly. But before he actually joins us, I would like to give an opportunity to Josephine to briefly describe what she understands about human rights and why it is so important to her. Josephine, please.
Human rights, actually, to me, is the articulation of mainly innate rights that the human being with a God-given sense of justice must have and must be accorded as part of daily life. For example, we look at issues like the right to life. No human being should be killed. It is innate within every human being to understand that murder has to be something that we should not even countenance in any civilized society, let alone a civilized society in the year 2013. The human rights legislation actually helps to articulate that in the sense that we have a positive right, or we have positive rights enshrined in human rights legislation. Without human rights legislation, we will have negative rights. And what I mean by that is there is nothing that says that this is the right of a human being which must be accorded to him. It is just that as long as you do not do anything against those rights, which would come under issues like criminal and other branches of law, then you are fine. But having the positive rights enshrined in legislation means that there is actually the need to take steps to ensure that those rights enshrined in legislation are accorded to everyone, irrespective of race, creed, gender, sexual orientation, or whatever classification we would wish to render to our brothers and sisters.
Right. That's a very good point and very interesting as well. Talking about human rights being innate rights according to each and every human being, irrespective of race, color, social status, etc. Thank you very much for that, Josephine.
You're welcome.
Janet, the same to you as well. Could you just briefly describe what you understand about human rights and why it is so important to you?
Yes. First of all, I always ask a question, what are rights? You know, we all speak about rights. What are these rights we're talking about? Okay, we say, we in a simple sense, we have rights that are clear to every one of us, that because you're human beings, you have those rights. You know, the right meaning to be able to live, you know, and to be able not to be muzzled by the state. Because when we talk about human rights, we are saying this is a contract between the state and the individual. These human rights laws are introduced to get the state not to abuse us, the ordinary people, the ordinary citizens of the country. You know, so when we talk about, a lot of people will say, what are rights? They say, well, rights are the things that you can do, that are morally correct, that you are born free and fair. You should be treated with respect. Because at the heart of the human rights law, we are talking about respect for human life. We're talking about human dignity. These are concepts that the country must uphold. If you want to talk about people enjoying their rights, I should have the free will to do as I like, as long as, my sister said, as long as my activities are not criminally labeled. You know, so this is the simplest way to understand it. Do we have violations in Sierra Leone? We will come to that.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for that, Janet. I find the point very interesting as well. You're actually talking about human rights being a contract between the state and the individual. You talked about human dignity and respect for life, freedom as well. I think Mr. Leon has just joined us. Is that true? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Apologies for being late.
No, that's all right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Mr. And before you actually joined us, I've actually introduced you. And before you came on air, I was actually just given a plan of how this show was going to run today. Josephine has just described what she understands about human rights and why it is so important to her. The same with Janet Musa as well. So if you don't mind, first of all, before you say anything, could you just say hi to the listeners, please?
Hello, hi to everyone listening from across the world. This is Mr. Leon, and it's my pleasure to be part of this very important discussion.
Okay. Thanks a lot for that, Mr. Mr., if you don't mind, I know you've just joined us, but could you describe what you understand about human rights and why it is so important to you?
Thank you very much. Very good question. I will define human rights in one word, and the word I will take on is life. So to me, human rights is about life. It's about education, it's about health, it's about justice, it's about the rule of law, but more importantly, it's about life. And we all need this life to survive and to exist. Without life, you are not a man, you are not a woman. So the subject of human rights is very important as we talk about our life and our daily existence. Out of the 15 years of work that I have been involved in this issue of human rights, in the cause of human rights, I've been across the world, and I've done some work with children, in fact, talking about children's rights, women's rights, so many rights, disability rights. So we all need this in order for us to be able to live and survive in this world. So human rights is the backbone of our existence.
Very true, Mr. Leon. Mr. Thank you very much for such salient points as well. Is Fabunda with us?
Yeah. I'm just trying to get. I'm here. I'm listening.
All right. Fabunda, just before you join anyway, I was just speaking to the other panelists, just asking them what they understand about human rights and why it is so important to them. If you don't mind, could you just explain what you understand about human rights and why it is so important to you, please?
Yeah, sure. Human rights is a right given to everyone, a right that is inherited and also being given to us as human beings. And so it's a right that is inherited at the same time. It's a right that could be given to us. So inherited by God. In other words, we are born with them, and there are rights that are being given to us. So you know, from two phases. One, the one that we are born with, we inherited, and those that are given to us by either government or by parents.
Right.
Or by society.
That's very interesting. Right, that's very interesting, Fabunda, especially when you mention about rights that are inherited and ones given to us by government and society, for example. That's a very important point. We would actually touch on that as the program goes on. But what I would like to do this time around is to ask Messe what is his take on the human rights situation in Sierra Leone in terms of the challenges and successes to date. I've actually met Messe, and I know he's worked a lot with human rights organizations, one of them being Rights Way, and he's also founded other human rights organizations as well. After speaking to Messe, I actually realized he's got a lot of passion in this field and wanted to do a lot more for his people back home. So he and all of you guys, I believe, have a lot of idea about what the situation is in Sierra Leone. So, Messe, if you don't mind, could you just tell me what your take is? What your take is with regards to the human rights situation in Sierra Leone, like the challenges and successes to date?
Thank you very much, and thank you for your very kind sentiments. Now, I would like to say human rights in Sierra Leone, without any political strings attached, politics aside, let me talk about this in a very neat